Hello there. Once again, this is Anton from Anton Bay. And, I could have swore I made a video with the first 4 issues of Alpha Flight. And I was so sure that I had that I made a couple of sequels. I was like going through the Alpha Flight series and shooting some videos. And I was like, well, where's the first video? I couldn't find it anywhere. So I was like, maybe I didn't make one. So I'm going to make one. And then I can, trickle out some of the others that I made. But yeah, so that's the weirdness of, I thought I made this video already, and apparently I haven't. I love Alpha Flight, and I've recently just reacquired the entire series for the third time in a row, and I'm not going to sell them again. I'm holding on to them because I don't want to go through the process of tracking all these down. So Alpha Flight number 1, this is a dollar cover. This is 1983. I would have been 2 years old. This cover I've always thought was super stupid. I mean, it looks great, but this whole caption, one side superheroes. This is a job only we can handle. So we don't need you, Spider-Man or Cyclops or Mr. Fantastic, or the Puck can handle this. Only Puck can handle this. He can handle this better than you guys can. Move over thing, only Marina, the aqua-based mutant, can do this, or shaman. Nobody else can. Power of God, Thor. No, we don't need you, man. We've got Sasquatch. He can do it. Only he can do it. Nobody else. I just thought it was super weird. I do love Alpha Flight, but I do have to pick at it a little bit. Tundra, created by John Byrne. This is one of his. John Byrne did some good stuff. He did a lot of good stuff. My favorite work he ever did was on She-Hulk and stuff like that. He took what was basically a rip-off lame character and made her a delightfully awesome character. And I really appreciated that. But this is Alpha Flight. This is something he came up with. This is etched in my brain. This decaying old man scratching this symbol, this shape, into the tundra, and that is the monster. And I've noticed this is pretty common with a lot of the villains of Alpha Flight. They are, absolutely miserable. Absolutely miserable they are. They've either been tortured or kept alive for thousands of years, trapped in ice, or a life of bitterness. It's just crazy. I've also noticed John Byrne tends to make a lot of what I would call boring panels. So these are all very boring panels. It's just Northstar and Aurora in their rooms, hanging out, plain clothes. There's no superhero stuff going on. He does this a lot. I don't know why he does this. It's just a thing. But you'll see that a lot in Alpha Flight. He tends to make kind of boring panels. There's nothing exciting has happened for 4 pages now. We've just talked a lot about, things that happen. They're necessary plot points, but they're not the most exciting. There's Puck doing his thing. And Puck, it's funny because he doesn't even get to go on the first several team missions because he can't get there. They won't give him clearance to get in. But we got Sasquatch, Walter Langowski, who, by the way, suddenly I just realized he really looks like Doc from Love Boat. Just not a good look. All right, so then we get this guy. He's all baked into the dirt now, and we get Tundra happening. Tundra is a pretty cool villain because it's enormous. Look at just look at the size of this page. He's like Godzilla-sized big dirt ball of basically frozen, moist tundra. That's what Tundra is. It's just frozen, moist dirt, grass, kind of like frozen swampland. It sucks, but that's what he's made of. And here's Puck beating up the Canadian military just to try and get to his job. Yeah, Tundra was an interesting first choice for a villain, but still nothing that, any one member of the Fantastic Four couldn't deal with. And I don't even like the Fantastic Four. Here he is ripping Tundra to shreds, and you have to it's like they had to put a magnifying glass on Tundra to see it because he's so big. because he's just so big. You can't tear him up fast enough. But this is a villain that is essentially destroyed by rain. Just rain. Lots of rain. Washes him away with rain. Or, I should say, they use her water spout to rinse that away. She looks very much like an alien. That's pretty much her first issue. Oh yes, you gotta have Puck and Walter fighting, because of course. And you've got Heather doing the, oh good grief, type phase at the end. Power Man trying to get you to buy his comic book. Anyway, that's the first issue of Alpha Flight. I mean, they fight a big kind of dirtball monster that, you know, Cyclops could have handled in a couple of minutes, or anybody else. Rogue could have probably destroyed fairly fast, but either way. Okay, and this is another thing. Puck, be careful. Something's happening to her. Take it easy, boss. Marina wouldn't hurt me. And she in this issue, she like disembowels him, like almost kills him. And as soon as she does, all the team is like, careful, Puck. No, don't kill her. Like he could. And then like, okay, the fact that he rolls around belly laughing at people and pointing, what a jerk. What a jerk. Little hairy guy. I could totally see him and Wolverine getting drunk a lot, but Wolverine could probably drink him under the table. Yep, he gets like disemboweled. So he's like almost dead. So he doesn't get to go on the first mission. He is almost killed by a teammate on the second mission. He spends time recovering for the third and fourth missions. I love Puck as a character, but they did not write him to be very useful. Like if you're gonna write this kind of diminutive, unpowered character into your book, can you at least be a little easier on him? Like, why are you so terrible to him then? Like, now there's some stuff I've noticed in this book that's pretty cool. And it really reminds me of old horror film or old horror comics. So like this sailor, he gets swept overboard, caught in the nets, and he's sinking to the bottom. And he knows he's gonna die. Like, he just knows he's dead already. But he sees a cool egg while he's down there, and before he dies, he's gonna look at it. And it ends up saving him. So that kind of stuff. That is so like old school horror film or horror comic story. And then of course he gets a monster that he raises as a child. A lot of ads. Here we get to meet probably the first big villain of Alpha Flight, which is the Master. And I think he's a continual pain in their butt like throughout the entire series. He's got a dumb Magneto helmet. And his origin story is one of absolute, you know, I mean, it's awful. It's creepy, awful. But that's kind of stories and villains they had. He's like kept alive for thousands of years in a state of torment and carried through time until he's finally hatched out. There's always seems to be some sort of long-term imprisonment or suffering that creates their villains, and it's, I don't know, it's disturbing at times, but that is Alpha Flight number 2. Pretty good cover. This is probably one of the cooler of the Alpha Flight covers. I've always really liked this one. This is Aurora in the glass tubes debacle. Snowbird, very cold and emotionless character running around. She finds the spaceship of the Master. And we learn that she can kind of alter time. And you know, still, I think this looks really familiar. I swear, I shot this video and then I must have deleted it or lost it because this really feels familiar. And yeah, the whole fight with the light tubes, Sasquatch breaking them out, and I don't know what they're made out of, but they certainly look like just fluorescent bulbs. I don't know if I doubt that's what they are. But you know, you get the Master's backstory in this issue. You get a little bit of Marina's backstory in the previous one. But you know, you get the Master's backstory. He was like a primitive cave screwhead who was a jerk, and he got captured by a crashed spaceship that nobody ever noticed. And then he gets like experimented on and mutated for thousands of years while he slowly becomes and takes control of the ship. And then suddenly you have Namor the Submariner and the Invisible Girl, which I thought it was the Invisible Woman. Maybe they switched that at some point. Anyway, you have those two show up at the end, but you have to you have to go to a different series to figure out how that ends. They're not just gonna tell you that. You get some backstory on Heather and Mac. I never really liked James McDonald Hudson. I just never thought he was a very likable character. I always liked Heather Hudson very much, but not James, not Mac. Explain it to me again, Namor. Why am I chasing all over the North Pole with you when I should be trying to contact my husband and tending to the Silver Surfer? Because Namor is a jerk and he's always putting the moves on you, Sue, and why do you let this happen? That's why. Because you suck. Because you're in the Fantastic Four. And the Fantastic Four kind of sucks. And yet, they have invaded this Alpha Flight comic book. I think because John Byrne probably worked on Fantastic Four too, but I was never a big FF fan. Art in the book is great. Superpowers are great. All that stuff is great. I love the Thing. But oh my gosh, could you write characters to be any more unlikable than the Fantastic Four? I just don't know. Open. Ugh. After all the work to get those pages open, that's what I see? That's awful. So, I don't know, I'm not even seeing Alpha Flight in this book hardly. It's all just Namor and Sue Storm doing the work of Alpha Flight in the book. We've got Marina there. What is going on? Yeah, okay, we finally got a couple members of Alpha showing up. But you guys are being upstaged by the Fantastic Four in your own book, and that's not a good look. You shouldn't do that. Corrected. I do have to respect this panel form. Look at that. It's 2 pages, 4 or 5 panels. Yeah, different layers of panels. It looks very cool though. This is an interesting idea. I've often said Alpha Flight has some weird panels with very small things because they're trying to draw the scale of Canada. And sometimes that comes across very, I don't know, not the most interesting panel because, I mean, you're covering like a huge area in a very tiny thing. And it doesn't always look the best, but either way. So that is Alpha Flight 1 through 4. I love this series. I absolutely love this series. I'm not even kidding how much. This is one of my favorite comic book series of all time. And it's one like I said, I've owned it 3 times now. This is the 3rd time. This is a charm. I'm gonna hold on to it this time, and it's not going anywhere again. Don't want to do that again. But anyway, that's my story. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Bye.